Hey everyone, welcome to the next video by Media Gamer Nation. This one's going to be my top 8 favourite wrestlers. I don't want to say from least to favourite because they could all be my favourite for a different reason in a different way. But number 1 being the all-time favourite. And I just want to quickly show something I purchased just the other day.
Who will survive?
I just wanted to show something real quickly that I purchased the other day. It's the only one as big as my Iron Man right there in the Hulkbuster armor, and I only get real specific ones of these. I'm not one of the people that just collect just every one they can pretty much get. And it was $29.99. I looked at it and thought, why couldn't it have been one of the single, like £10 ones? But I had to get it. I had to. I looked at it and I was like, I gotta get it, because it's WrestleMania 12. I saw it when I was 13 years old, stayed up super late, 1 in the morning, so I could see WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels winning the World Championship for the first time. And yeah, proper nostalgia. And yeah, it's just something that, you know, I remember fondly. And there you have it. Just wanted to show that off. I thought that was pretty cute, and yeah, let's jump straight into it. So we're going to start with the first one, number 8 on the list. It's a tough decision, but he's my favourite big man wrestler. If I had to pick another one, I couldn't pick between Big Sid Vicious or Mike Awesome. They would be my next favourites for the big powerhouse wrestlers. But I always liked Kevin Nash. He always knew how to throw his weight around in the right way. He had a good attitude on him for his character and everything. So first up we got Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Big Daddy Cool!
Big Daddy Cool Diesel!
He, of course, started off as the bodyguard of Shawn Michaels. He came in from WCW, so he was WCW, WWF, WCW again, and then WWE, and then of course TNA. And he's also part of the Main Event Mafia in TNA. He was a big force, a big time player in WWF in the 90s. And yeah, he kicked a lot of ass. He was the world champion there, and then his contract was up. I believe that was, I think it was around about 98, 99, and then he went over to WCW, and then in WCW he obviously couldn't use the name Diesel anymore, so he started to use his real name Kevin Nash, and he would go on to form the NWO, the New World Order over there, and that would be known as New World Order Black and White Hollywood NWO. And then eventually you had the NWO Hollywood Black and White split off into 2 sections, which became NWO Wolfpack Red and Black. And he would also go on to do other things as well. He's looking pretty good these days. He's one of the wrestlers that has had a big career that actually still looks pretty good, and also been in movies such as The Punisher, where he plays the Russian, and he was one of the guards in The Longest Yard, the Adam Sandler movie, and he's been in other things too. He's even been in, I believe, a couple of TV shows. But I've always liked Big Kev, and he will always be my favourite big man wrestler. Alright, moving on to the next one. Next up, we have none other than the Ultimate Warrior. And a lot of people like him, a lot of people don't like him. I've always been down with the whole gimmick. And he was the one person you could just hit the music and he could just run to the ring and just run around and people will go absolutely banana. He was a world champion. He was an Intercontinental champion before that. He was the one person at the time which they pulled the trigger on, defeating Hulk Hogan clean in the middle of the ring to take Hogan's title off of him. Then, after quite some time, he would go away, come back again at WrestleMania 12, and he would face Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and he would beat him clean. He would squash him in a squash match in, I think it was under 2 minutes if I remember correctly. and a lot of people think that's a bit rubbish. I think it was one of the highlights of the night, and that was also one of the Warrior's things. He didn't have like 10, 15, 20-minute matches unless it was against Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. The best two opponents he ever had was Ravishing Rick Rude and the Macho Man Randy Savage. Ooh yeah, dig it! Then we move on to WCW. He was just a surprise mystery debut in WCW. One night, Hogan was talking trash. He was cutting a promo in the ring, saying, "I've beaten everybody, brother. I've beaten all the giants, all the monsters, all the warriors." And then the lights go out and his music plays and he comes out and he's like, "You have never defeated the warriors, let alone the Ultimate One." And yeah, we all know his WCW run didn't go well. In fact, it went absolutely terribly. But it was still something we remember, whether we remember it fondly or not. And I will always remember the Warrior as someone who could electrify an audience. He was pretty cool and always will be one of my favourites. I forgot. The promos. Duh, I almost forgot the promos. So I put together just a few clips right here. And then we're just going to jump straight into the next one at the number 6 spot on this list.
The Animal and the Ultimate Warrior! You demolition have never been the same as the Legion of Doom and the Ultimate Warrior. You deserve not to breathe the same atmosphere that we walk in. You have been walking close to the edge. Now you hang on the edge. You demolition will feel nothing but fear.
All right, Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior, you've heard from Andre the Giant and Bobby the Brain Heenan. They believe that you fear the Giant.
Fear! Fear is an aberration! Fear is the air that cowards breathe! Fear is the first taste of defeat! The warrior only breathes the air of the brave! And the warrior only feasts on the fruit of victory!
All right, I thank you very much, Vince McMahon. I've got to pose some of the questions to you, Ultimate Warrior. First of all, what happened tonight? Ultimate Warrior.
What happened tonight was already written, Hulk Hogan. It was written a long time ago when the warriors that came before me and you. Yes, I'll do it. Now what we must do is beyond us, Hulk Hogan. I stood with my back to you, Hulk Hogan. I was sitting at council from a place long from here, and I came here for one reason. To attack and keep coming. Not to ask, but just to give. Not to want, but just to sin. Sing the power warrior. Down everybody's throat in the WWE till they become sick of it. Well, you're gonna get sick of it because this freaking nature right here is just beginning to swell. And when I get big enough, brother, there ain't gonna be room for anybody else but me and all the warriors floating through the veins and the power of the warrior. How must I prepare? You must ask yourself. Should I jump off the tallest building in the world? Should I lay on the lawn and let him run over me with lawnmowers? Should I go to Africa and let him trample me with raging elephants? You can feel it too! In my final meeting with the gods from the heavens above, as they spoke to me and hit me with the power of the Ultimate Warrior, they told me, exit stage left, exit stage right. There is no place to run. All the fuses in the exit signs have been burned out. Your good luck, Razor Ramon, and Nature Boy Ric Flair, for what you see across the back of this macho man, and across the face of this one, the Ultimate Warrior, is the bondage of the Ultimate Maniacs. No sleep, no food, no nothing, just maniacism. As a skeleton, we still walk as ultimate maniacs. Therefore, what are you gonna do? Bury us now? Gets to a point.
The tower of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Oh yeah! Intercontinental heavyweight.
Macho Man. Number 6 on this list. If anyone has a top 10, he should be somewhere on that list. And he's someone who kind of had promos just as crazy as the Ultimate Warrior, although mostly all of them made a lot more sense. And that's saying something, because his were pretty crazy, but they were also pretty cool. On top of that, in the intro I played the Tower of Power thing that he said. I found it difficult to find him saying it like on the camera or anything with the full version, because the only thing they missed off, there might be 2 more parts, but there's definitely another one part at the end that goes, "Sky is the limit, space is the place, ooh yeah." They didn't have that in the only thing that I found. And we're just going to play one more clip real quick, then we're going to talk about the Randy Savage a little bit more.
I am the cream in the World Wrestling Federation, and there is no doubt about it. Yeah, you mean Gene Okerlund. You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Oh, wait a minute, though, Randy. I've got to ask you very seriously. Do you blame Miss for Ricky Steamboat being the Intercontinental Champion today?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Outside interference, yeah. In my moment of glory. Yeah, now I'm living in a nightmare, and I am the cream. And now, not only the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship belt must fall, but the World Heavyweight Championship belt. Because Hulk Hogan, yeah, I am the cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage. On balance, off balance, doesn't matter. I'm better than you are, yeah. Nothing is gonna stop me. Nothing's gonna stop me.
But I'm very curious. I haven't seen Elizabeth lately.
Yeah.
To a point where it really doesn't matter. You guys don't really know us like you think that you do. Riding on the edge of a lightning bolt, yeah, we are. We are the ultimate maniacs, and we are ultimate survivors. We're not planning ahead. Welcome to the big time, because we're already here, and we ain't going nowhere. Do you dig what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Come bring it to us, and we'll bring you all the way down. Dig it.
The cream of the crop rise to the top. Oh yeah, dig it. Definitely can't do the whole Macho Man segment like that, or I won't be able to talk for a good hour. Yeah, let's talk about Randy the Macho Man Savage. He was an Intercontinental Champion, one of the best Intercontinental Champions of our time, I think. And he was also a World Champion in WWF, and he was also a World Champion in WCW. I don't believe he was ever a Tag Team Champion. He may have been in WCW. I can't remember. You'll have to tell me in the comment section below, but also tell me in the comment section below, was he ever the WWF Tag Team Champion with anybody? Because he was in a bunch of tag teams. The Ultimate Warrior, as you saw in that promo segment, as the Ultimate Maniacs. And he was also with Hulk Hogan as the Mega Maniacs. So let me know in the comment section below if he was ever a Tag Team Champion. He got to a point where he left WWF. They had him commentating. They had him on the commentary team. Apparently Vince McMahon just wanted him as someone just doing commentary for the matches, and he decided, nope, my contract's up and I still got more wrestling to go in me, so I'm heading to WCW. And off he went to WCW, and I think that was in, he's like 95, a little while before WCW Monday Night Nitro started. Then we would eventually see him there become part of the NWO in the NWO Hollywood, and then he would kind of go off on his own. He would join the Wolfpack as well, and then he would just be more on his own, and that's where we would find What Was Up.
What up, March?
Oh, yeah!
And then he would play out the last part of his career, pretty much, in WCW. However, we would see him one last time. I don't know why I say time like that sometimes, not all the time, but just sometimes. I think one, maybe two appearances in TNA. And he didn't do a whole heck of a lot. There's a few people who you can look up that actually were in TNA, but they didn't really do much. And I think Kurt Hennig and Randy Savage are the ones that come to my mind the most. Mr. Perfect and the Macho Man. And having said that, there's not enough to do justice to the Macho Man, originally known as Macho King, Randy Savage, for anyone who didn't know. I'm pretty sure he lost that title when he lost a match to the Ultimate Warrior, and to stay in the company of the WWF he had to drop the name King from his name or something like that. Let me know your thoughts on the Macho Man, or any of your favourite wrestlers for that matter, and jump on to the next one. Ooh yeah. Get ready to fly. Get ready to fly indeed. And next up we got the phenomenal one himself, AJ Styles. Little fun fact, he actually started off in WCW a long time ago originally. And we would mainly get to see him once TNA started getting off the ground. He would become one of the head players in TNA. In fact, a lot of people, for good reason, see him as the heart and soul of TNA Impact. And there he would win every single championship. He would have a run as the tag team champions with Christopher Daniels. He'd go on and have really good matches against Christopher Daniels as well, against Kazarian, against Samoa Joe. Pretty sure he faced Abyss as well. And one of the most talked about matches when you talk about best matches ever is the Christopher Daniels versus Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles match, and I believe they had 2 of those matches. If they had a third one, let me know. But they had their first one at Unbreakable 2005. You can actually watch that on YouTube. If you go to the TNA YouTube channel, they've got the whole pay-per-view on there, so you can see that match and the rest of the matches on there. And then they had another match as well for the X Division Championship the following year at Destination X 2006. He also had some really good matches with Kurt Angle, probably 3 different matches that I remember. And then it would get to a point where it was kind of the dark times starting out in TNA, where the manager and I think the owner at the time, Dixie Carter, would basically say to AJ Styles, well, we don't want to pay you as much. And it's like, so not only do you want to keep paying me the same, you want to pay me less for being a cornerstone of this company, being one of the reasons it succeeded how it has. Okay. He ended up packing his championship and leaving. It was actually a cool story angle. They had him take the belt. He took the belt with him and he went and defended it in Ring of Honor, and he defended the TNA Championship in Japan as well, I believe. And he had some good matches. And then he would, I think, eventually drop the championship to Magnus, I believe it was. And then it would be quite some time where he just did his own thing. We'd see him on the independent scene. And then eventually he would make his WWE debut. And I believe he's been there for over 7 years, I think. I'm pretty sure it was over 7 years ago. We saw him hit number 3 spot in the Royal Rumble. He has been there until now, and I don't see his contract ending anytime soon, if I'm correct. But let me know in the comment section below if you know any super secret info about him going to AEW. I don't know. He probably won't. But it'd be cool if he did, you know, to hang out with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. But yep. He is my next favourite in my list. If I have to rank them all, he will go in the number 4 spot. RVD, the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam. And if we go back, see, one of the last times we saw him for a good amount of time was in TNA. But we got to go back to the roots, where it started.
Watch out! Watch out! Springboard!
Yep, when you're talking about the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam. You gotta go back to the roots. You gotta go back to original Extreme Championship Wrestling. We'd see many incredible moments right now. We'd see him as, I feel like I'm gonna say, the best and one of the longest reigning television champions of our time. And as much as the king of television, Samoa Joe might argue with that because he's the television champion right now, but he was a TV champion, and as far as ECW is concerned, he was the best television champion, and he had that for a long time. He also held the tag team championships along with his tag team partner Sabu and their manager Fonz, or Al Fonz was his name, I always forget. He did a lot of cool stuff there. He had loads of cool matches, as you saw in the opening clips. And if we fast forward to, I believe it was 2001, when WWE purchased ECW and WCW, we would eventually see the ECW One Night Stand, the WWE ECW pay-per-view, and there was a One Night Stand event where we would see John Cena face Rob Van Dam defending his WWE Spinny Belt Championship. And that was of course the one where we saw the sign in the audience saying that if Cena wins, we riot. Would the crowd have rioted? Really? Probably not. But I don't know, maybe. I mean, those ECW arena fans were pretty crazy. But it's alright, because he won. So it's all good. He won. He was actually both champions for a while. They were putting all the belts on him until he got caught with a possession of cannabis one time. And as soon as Vince McMahon found out about that, he said, well, we're going to have you drop that championship, and then we're going to have to make you drop the other championship as well. And we're going to stop pushing you. So that was unfortunately the end of his big push in WWE. But we'd still go on to see him do some good things there. We'd also see him as tag team champions with Kane, and he was the tag team champion with Booker T as well, I think. And yeah, a cool thing was that he even worked WCW. At one point, I believe he must have been a free agent at the time, or his contract was just so flexible. I think he was just a free agent. At one point, he was working ECW, WCW, and WWF at all the same time at one point, and that's pretty cool. Then we will fast forward. We will go back to TNA and see him make his TNA debut.
The involvement of TNA President Dixie Carter. She said there will be the return to the ring tonight for the Icon Sting. JD tried to find out who his opponent is going to be, and all Dixie would say is that Sting's going to find out when everybody else does. Who's it going to be?
There he is! Mr. Monday Night!
Yeah, only the hottest free agent in professional wrestling! RVD off the top with the kick! Right at the bell! Takes Sting down! Rolling Thunder! Cover one!
He's got him!
Two!
He's got him!
He beats Sting!
I don't know if I realised it at the time because I was watching it that night. You can actually hear, before his music hits, people going, RVD, RVD. I don't know if that's because he literally comes from the back of the arena. Maybe a few people shouted it and the rest looked and could see him. I guess that's the case, or some people probably knew. But that was his entrance into TNA, which was pretty awesome. I was psyched. Then he would go on to even win the TNA World Championship, which still meant something at that time. I mean, it still means something now to a certain extent. You can't take the credit away from any company that has athletes that put their all into it. But AJ Styles was still there. I don't know if Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe was still there as well. Can't remember. Have we ever seen a Samoa Joe versus RVD match? I'm going off track. I'm going off topic. That was an awesome moment. Admittedly, I can't remember if I said this a few seconds ago, but admittedly, he shouldn't have beat him with a Rolling Thunder. He should have went on a tiny bit more, I think. Hit him with a 5-star Frog Splash and won the match that way. But it was still pretty awesome. Then we'll be going back to the past of this video. We'll be going back to the beginning of this video. and seeing how that plays out.
Uh-oh. Watch out. Watch out. Springboard. RVD just got caught. Oh, but he was able to turn it around on Styles. Ended up putting a... Oh, wait a minute. Van Dam up to the top. 5-star. Bam. Frog splash off the top. Can he do it? One. Count. Can he do it? He did it. He did it.
Here's your winner, and new TNA Heavyweight Champion of the World, Rob Van Dam.
Out of him. What a matchup it was. What a moment this is. An awe-inspiring moment for Rob Van Dam, our new heavyweight champion, right here
Oh yeah, Samoa Joe, the Samoan submission machine. And what a badass we have here. One of the toughest wrestlers, I think, in my opinion, to ever step foot into the world of pro wrestling. The first places I ever saw him, of course, Ring of Honor. Pretty sure he held all the titles. He definitely held the World Championship there. He also had matches with the likes of someone you may know today in AEW, Claudio Castagnoli, with hair. After his Ring of Honor match, he'd go on and have a match with him in WWE as well, on an episode of Raw. And who knows, maybe we'll see another match with them for both their championships, both their Ring of Honor championships in AEW. That'd be pretty cool. And of course he also had matches against the likes of young CM Punk and young Bryan Danielson. And then we jump forward to TNA, Total Non-Stop Action. He would be one of the top names in TNA Impact. He'd hold every single championship right now. He'd be the World Champ, the X Division Champ. He'd have both Tag Team Championships. In fact, he won those with Kurt Angle. But the way that went down was, at the Match of Champions, Samoa Joe scored the winning pinfall on Brother Ray after Kurt Angle hit the Angle Slam and won the Tag Team Championships from Team 3D, making him the first wrestler in TNA to hold multiple TNA championships. And then he later opted to hold both the titles by himself, which is pretty awesome. Who needs a tag team partner when you're Samoa Joe, right? He would also go on a destructive winning streak as soon as he got there, which would only eventually be stopped by the man himself, Kurt Angle. They would go on to have many matches against each other for good reason. They were just absolutely brilliant when paired together in the ring. And the matches are TNA Genesis 2006, and then they faced it off in an Iron Man match, I believe it was, at Final Resolution 2007. Then they faced each other again at Hard Justice 2007, and then probably my favourite match, even though I don't know if it was the best match, but it was the really MMA themed one. They even had the cage, the octagon cage. That was at Lockdown 2008, where Samoa Joe would get the victory and the World Championship. And of course, as you can see in the little video playing right there, is the Nation of Violence Samoa Joe, which was quite awesome as well. That was around the storyline time of Main Event Mafia, I believe. Then we skip forward a bit further to the WWE. So we've now got Samoa Joe in the WWE. And I'm going to be honest, this is my least favourite run of Samoa Joe anywhere. Mainly because I feel like they just didn't treat him as good as they could have or should have, which is the treatment a lot of wrestlers get when they weren't homegrown in the WWE. Unless your name's AJ Styles, he's got absolutely everything he deserves there, which is awesome. And I don't think I covered that in the AJ segment, but I just did there, so we good. I feel like his best time spent there was probably in NXT. I feel like they treated him better there than when he got moved up to the main roster. And in NXT, of course, he would be the world champion, and he would have some good matches there. And we would also see him as the United States champion. But having said that, we're going to jump forward ahead now. We're going to skip forward some time to the current time of AEW. All Elite Wrestling. We going all elite. So now we got Samoa Joe in All Elite Wrestling, where he currently wrestles at this present time. That's going to be my thing now, saying time like that in all my videos. You can see him there, probably on the next Dynamite, hopefully on the next Dynamite, because I'm not 100% sure what he's doing now. He's had some good matches against Trent Beretta, Josh Woods, and he's the current television champion. So we've had 2 television champions in this list. He recently dropped the TNT championship to Wardlow at Revolution, and then of course he's had some really good matches against Darby Allin as well, all concerning the TNT championship, and I see nothing but more good things for Samoa Joe in AEW. I'm really hoping for a Samoa Joe versus Kenny Omega match. That's what I'm looking for. But having said that, we're going to wrap that up and jump on to the next one. We got 2 left, and here we go. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh hell yeah. I feel like I'm not going to do justice enough for these last final 2. These last 2 on the list are respectively the biggest names in this list, and I don't feel like I've done enough justice that the others are worthy of in this video, so I definitely don't feel like I'm going to do enough justice for these 2 either. But here we go. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. And if we go back, we see him starting off as Stunning Steve in WCW, long before even WCW Nitro was a thing. But we'd finally see him in the WWF, now known as the WWE. And of course, he'd start off as the Ringmaster, but that would all change when he won the 1996 King of the Ring.
King of the Ring, Stone Cold Steve Austin, an incredible victory.
The first thing I want to be done is to get that piece of crap out of my ring. Don't just get him out of the ring, get him out of the WWF. You sit there and you thump your Bible, talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass. I'm serving notice to every one of the WWF superstars. As far as this championship match is considered, son, I don't give a damn if it's Davey Boy Smith or Shawn Michaels. Steve Austin's time has come. And when I get the shot, you're looking at the next WWF champion. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
And we would see him go on nothing but the up and up from here on out, as if he weren't doing well for himself already.
Yeah, you ain't got to build Stone Cold, brother.
He's been the $1 Million Championship when he was kind of first brought into the company, managed by Ted DiBiase. And he's also been one of the best Intercontinental Champions there ever was. And on top of that, he's been multiple time World Champion as well. And he's even been Tag Team Champion as well, with the likes of Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And he even had his own championship, the Smoking Skulls Championship. Not only that, he's gone on to be successful in movies as well. One of my favourite ones is, it's The Longest Yard, just like with Kevin Nash. But he's also been in his own standalone movies as well, where he's just the main role. Not to mention, he does the Broken Skull podcast, where he's had a lot of success doing that. And I've watched many of those. And Stone Cold just represented the era perfectly with his no-nonsense attitude. Take no names, no prisoners, kick everyone's ass. At one point, he was actually my joint favourite, and he beat the #1 spot on this list at WrestleMania 14. And I had to stay true, my childhood favourite and all-time favourite, and I had to go back to just having one single favourite. And that brings us to the next person on this list. Alright, here we go.
Are you ready?
No, we're not ready. We're not ready just yet.
Get your heart out, girl.
No, that's not quite where we want to start either. No, that's definitely not where we're starting out. Almost. Okay, we're nearly there. Here we go. So, as many of you may well know, Shawn Michaels started off as one half of the tag team known as the Rockers with Marty Jannetty, and I believe they was wrestling together for 7 years in the AWA wrestling promotion before WWE got a hold of them, so WWF got a hold of them. And from then on, they would go on to have a tag team championship win over the Hart Foundation, but unfortunately, because of the rope actually breaking, it was reversed and that title shot did not go into the record books. So technically, they've never been tag team champions. But he then went on to be tag team champions later on. I feel like I'm repeating this because it was in the Stone Cold thing, but he was tag team champions with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and also with Triple H, and also with Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Big Daddy Cool Diesel.
Anyway, they would go on to start having a bit of problems with each other. That, of course, went to the Brutus the Barber Beefcake barbershop segment where he super kicked him and then put him through the window. And that was the end of the Rockers, and then the beginning of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. So there's a few things to cut out and dissect from this segment, and we're going to do that right now. There's no doubt that without a doubt, and what do we do when there's friction? We shake hands, right? So, when he turns around, does he mean that he's going to turn his back to him, put his own hand behind his back and shake hands to Shawn's face? Who does that? Who shakes hands to someone backwards? That is what he said though, right? I'm pretty sure. Anyway. Good God. Ooh. Now, I didn't know this until I watched this recently on YouTube and I read a comment saying, why does no one ever point out the woman who shouts out, "You fucking kidding me?" As Shawn says, "I don't think so." And if you really listen carefully, you can hear it.
There's a problem with you, Shawn. Rockers are history. 1 week away.
It's really quiet. Not to mention when Bobby the Brain Heenan says, "Did you see that? He tried to escape through the window. What an act of cowardice." But yeah, no one will forget that segment. So the Rockers are no more, and the birth of the Heartbreak Kid has begun.
Intercontinental Champion, would you please welcome Mr. Shawn Michaels?
And that's Mr. Shawn Michaels to you. Now, Shawn has been all of the champions. As I mentioned, he's been tag team champions and he's also been the World Wrestling Federation champion. But we'll cover that in a minute. We're going to cover right now when he was the Intercontinental champion. And one of the most memorable matches just at WrestleMania alone, let alone memorable matches which had something to do with the Intercontinental Championship. And that will be, of course, the ladder match between Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, who were both the Intercontinental champion at the same time. And that took place in 1994.
And the bogus one of race. There are no rules. The only way to win this match is to ascend the ladder and remove both belts to become the undisputed World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Champion. Well. I know I'm sexy. I've got the look that drives a girl wild. I've got the move.
Now, Shawn would go on to lose this one, but he would win the following confrontation in their next ladder match, also for the Intercontinental Championship at the following year, 1995 at SummerSlam. Next up we got Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels versus Big Daddy Cool Diesel. I'm not going to do the Rock thing every time I say Big Daddy Cool. And this happened at WrestleMania 11 in 1995. This was a really good back and forth match. Kevin Nash was really good at working with someone smaller than him, and vice versa. Shawn was also really good working with someone much larger than himself. And Shawn did a really good job of controlling the pace, controlling the match in his style, until he inevitably got overpowered by the big man. And he got caught in a second rope sidewalk slam that looked really good. And then Shawn does hit the super kick, but he hits it when the ref's been knocked down. He's out the ring. Sid tries to throw him back in, but not in a quick enough time to where Shawn can get that 3 count. And then Kevin Nash hits the jackknife and it's 1, 2, 3 all over. And then he gets Jennifer McCarthy and Pamela Anderson. We move on to WrestleMania 12, 1996, where Shawn Michaels won the Heavyweight Championship for the first time against Bret the Hitman Hart.
Something that has never happened before is just about to happen, gentlemen. Hell in the Cell. The cell itself is being lowered. Here it comes.
Then we go on further still to the Hell in the Cell. Shawn Michaels, along with The Undertaker, took part in the first ever Hell in a Cell at In Your House Bad Blood in 1997. And Shawn Michaels won. Woo! It's also the debut of Kane.
It's gotta be Kane! Get ready! It's what it's all about! The World Wrestling Federation title!
That's right, the World Wrestling Federation Championship, WrestleMania 14. I was torn between my 2 favorites, but I had to ask myself one question consisting of 3 words.
Are you ready?
And this was the match that also had Mike Tyson as the enforcer at ringside. Austin would inevitably go on to win the match and go on to be the figurehead of the company. And then whether it was the brilliant match he had with Y2J Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 19, or the not so good match at SummerSlam 2005 against Hulk Hogan, which was of course the same year, 2005, at WrestleMania 21, where it was totally made up for with the awesome match he had with Kurt Angle. All the last 2 matches in these little clips I'm showing right here, where he faced The Undertaker at back-to-back WrestleManias, 2009 and 2010, where the second match he would of course put his streak on the line to get that one more match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania a second time, and then that would basically be the end of the illustrious career of the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And that is my top 8 favourite wrestlers. Stay tuned for a little bonus segment which I'm just going to call Honourable Mentions, and that will be the end of the video. So I'll go ahead and say bye now. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Ooh yeah. Dig it.
Who will survive?
Take a look what you've got now.